Hey everybody, I'm Elwirfy, and today I wanted to talk about this something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. And now that you've been seeing all these videos, surely, hopefully, you kind of understand my position a bit more. But I wanted to talk about this idea of the fear of the unknown and the way that being afraid of something can evolve over time. It's not something that's like really simple. It's not like you go out of your way to just like want to be afraid of something. But I remember when the pandemic first broke out, right? And there was a lot of panic and a lot of chaos. Nobody knew what was going on. At the time, I worked at a hospital, and I was like the food guy, right? So I'd like deliver food to people, and there was a point like where we didn't really know how serious to take this virus yet. So there was a point where people were getting sick. Nobody knew why. We didn't know at the time if the disease was airborne. Now we know it's waterborne, or like if it's just from touch, it's slightly touch, but it's mostly waterborne based for transmission. And I wanted to talk about kind of like my experience of working in a hospital during that time because it was rough. First off, when everything first started out, at first they didn't even want us to wear masks, even though I'm disabled. I got one lung. My doctor even said, "Hey, you can't be working in a hospital if you don't wear a mask." And the management was like, "Oh, if you wear a mask, it'll scare the patients. You'll make them think there's something going on when there was something going on, and they should be made fully aware of that." But that's besides the point. So I didn't work for about 2 weeks until eventually, like, I need money for bills, so I had to go back, and I managed to argue my way through HR to get myself to wear a mask, but it was a long, hard fight, which I know sounds silly in hindsight, looking back when everyone wears masks, and that how, especially considering how important it is. But anyway, so there'd be a lot of times where like we had a whole floor that was like closed off just for COVID patients, which was really depressing. Nobody wanted to go there. We didn't go in the rooms. We didn't interact with the patients. And even so, we kept having numerous times where people would go into a room thinking it's safe, but then found out, oh shoot, they're positive for COVID. We got to move them. And me, the worker, and my coworkers were going into these rooms just to give people food. And there was a very large lack of safety. Granted, our testing wasn't very good, but it was pretty clear that. Obviously, I'm not naming names or anything, but it was pretty clear that where I was working, the safety of the employees wasn't taken as seriously as it is now. Especially like with staffing issues being such a big problem, people were asking to work overtime, and it was rough. There was a lot. Obviously, I didn't work overtime because you know, I'm high risk, right? I'm not gonna go out of my way to do that. But I was so afraid of getting it that like I started like starting to feel like I'm not having a panic attack because I don't want to be over exaggerative, but I was having moments where oh goodness. Let's fix the camera a little bit. Is that camera fixed? Oh my god. I was having moments where I felt like I wasn't necessarily doing everything that I could to stave off the fear of just being afraid itself, right? I was afraid of the fact that everyone else was afraid. I was afraid. Nobody knew what was going on. And there became a point where uh, I got sick from flu. Turns out it was just the flu, right? But unfortunately, those are the exact same symptoms as having COVID. So I thought I got it. I stayed home, got a COVID test, had to wait the 7 days and stuff. 14 actually at that time, and I don't know. It was really rough because I think I got kind of depressed from that because I thought I was gonna die. I remember going into the bathroom and I just sat in the shower and cried for like half an hour. That was pretty rough. Um, and it sucks because people still go to the ICU for COVID, even though we have a vaccine now. Obviously, I'm fully vaccinated because why wouldn't I be? Um, but people still refuse to get the vaccine even after they like go to the ER and stuff and like go to the ICU in order to fight it off. But then afterwards, they still don't want it. So I don't know what's wrong with our scientific community and the fact that we're not able to get people to understand why the virus is so bad and why a vaccine is so important, especially if you want to go and live a normal life. We're all trying our very best, but yeah, when I was working at the hospital, once we did get allowed to wear masks, like because it was at a point right where since we didn't know what was going on, I was like everyone else. I was like, shoot, we better buy food. I better stock up on everything I could, and I did. And it turned out it worked out pretty well because I had to stay home from work for 2 weeks. So it's a really good thing that I did buy those supplies so I could support me and my family, and I don't know. I just it was really an experience. I think it was kind of a point where like it kind of matured me to be more of the person that I am today, where I'm able to kind of handle difficulties and take them on in a more serious manner, which is really good because you want to be able to, as you're growing up, get better at making those hard decisions that make it difficult for you to kind of functions, because you go throughout your everyday and then obstacles will be thrown at you, just like everyone does have this problem of obstacles being thrown, and then the way you respond to that kind of shows not only your level of maturity but your level of commitment to trying to be a good problem solver and to fix any issues that might come up. So with this new variant coming out, I would just hope that people are staying safe, that people are vaccinated. It's really important. As soon as we get to 90+% immunity, maybe we might not even need masks at all. And where I live right now, the mask mandate has been lifted, but we still use it for like hospitals and kind of important buildings and such. And it's super disappointing when I walk around with my N95 mask and I'm seeing people walking around with no mask, because I feel like, oh, you're probably just going to make it take longer for us to actually be mask free. So I'm not going to contribute to that. But yeah, it's pretty terrifying when you think you have COVID. Kind of messes with your head because, when I thought I was dying, I was like, okay, what do I actually have to show for myself, right? And this YouTube channel, ironically, is kind of the biggest thing I've created. It's the most impact I've ever had, even though it's pretty small. And I know that most people might look at the channel and be like, oh, nobody watches. Nobody's worried about it. But I don't know. I'd like to think I've made at least a couple people happy with this. I've done a lot of work, and I'm not making this video to say I'm leaving or anything. Obviously, we have plenty of videos to make, lots of content coming. But I would just hope people would be mindful of each other and the fact that everyone is obviously entitled to their own opinion, but I would hope that the preservation of humanity in the face of possibly unknowable odds, we would do our very best to prevent the weak from being picked off and not allow those who are strong to have the only voice in the discussion, which is why, I don't know. Maybe you guys have thoughts on it that I don't. Feel free to leave a comment down below if you want to talk about, because as far as I'm concerned, my channel is a safe space. If you want to talk about your own experiences, like maybe you got tricked into thinking you're dying like me, because shoot, it was not good. I remember like when my family called, I could hear in their voices, or at least to me it sounded like they thought I was dying, which was not easy at all. When you have to hear your family think that you're dying. Obviously, they were trying to be supportive and trying not to say it. They didn't say it out loud, but they were really concerned, especially because I have one lung. So if I did get it, my doctor said it probably would be fatal, which is funny based on where I work now, but that'll be another video. But yeah, working in the hospital, it was really not a good experience because they we lost a lot of staff, a lot of people. We have cases of people not even following the safety protocol. It was not good, and I'm really glad to be out of there. I'm glad I have my current job, and hopefully for those of you who are still working in the hospitals, you're following safety procedures. Everyone's wearing masks. Hopefully no one's getting too lazy. I know it's hard. I know the patients are kind of rough sometimes, especially when like you're helping someone who has COVID, but they didn't get the vaccine, so it's kind of their fault, but you can't really say that, even though we are all thinking that it's kind of their fault. I don't know. I don't really want to have to think about dying for a long time, so hopefully this is the last time something like this is going to happen, where I'm going to feel like I'm going to die when I'm not actually dying, because I think it kind of messes with your head, and I don't know. It's weird to be here, after the apocalypse. That'd be a good book. after the apocalypse, what to do next. Anyway, guys, thank you all for watching. I'm Elwirfy, and I'll definitely be seeing you guys next time. Absolutely take care, everyone.